Consistency Day 109, dreams become you. We talk about dreams like they're this far away, distant thing, not realizing that dreams are who we are. We become the dream through how we live our life, the habits, the day ins and day outs of our said lives. And it's funny because as you work on your dream, as you work on yourself, you become that. That dream becomes your life. The disciplined person becomes success. The disciplined artist becomes, or the consistent artist becomes mastery. The resilient mind becomes unshakable because you're building it. You're actively living it out day in and day out, brick by brick, and you ultimately have that result. You ultimately become that. So you are becoming your dreams today. Whether your dream is to have a happy family and happy home, to be a millionaire, to be muscular, to have a six-pack, to have a beach-ready body, to have perfect mental health, have no depression, no anxiety, to have a mansion, to have a $1 million sports car, to live and travel the world, like all these things, they happen as you live them. But you have to build the habits. You have to have the consistency, the discipline. And as you live it out, you become it. Like, you want to be an NFL football player. You want to be a professional athlete. Like, you start building that through your habits. Like I said, you live it in, day out, and day in and day out for years. And ultimately, you achieve it. You are your dreams. Your dreams become you through that process. But too many people get lost on the road there. Too many people get distracted, or they're not disciplined enough. They don't have the focus. They stop being consistent. They miss a day here or there, and that ends up being missing weeks and having inconsistent months. And ultimately, you're not building anything for the years. You're not building anything over the decades. So how are you going to get it if you're not constantly and actively building it and focused on it in order to achieve it, in order to become it? Like, if your goal is to be a better husband or wife or mom or dad, how do you do that without actively working on it? If your goal is to be promoted at your job, how do you do that without working on your skill set, without trying to build and become somebody that's promotable? If you want to open up a business and go from 1 customer to 1,000 customers to 1,000,000 customers, how do you do that process without honing your process, honing your sales, honing your marketing, building your team, building yourself in order to lead a team? If you want to make $1 million, $1 million salary, let's just say, like, how do you do that without learning the skills to multiply your income, to build your income, but then to multiply it? Because it's going to be hard to have a $1 million job unless you're like a high level executive or CEO, or you build your own business. Like I said, like, if your goal is to lose 100 pounds, how do you maximize that? How do you learn how to do that? How do you become that? You become somebody with a healthy habit. Because here's the thing, let's use fitness again as an example. When you start saying, I'm on a diet, you're not necessarily having a lifestyle change. How about you eat healthy because that's the foods you eat? You want a healthy lifestyle. You want to, have a good lifestyle, have a healthy life, longevity. All these things is going to come from eating healthy. You don't necessarily need to call it a diet, because a diet is a temporary state. A diet is a restriction. And we're not living our lives on restrictions. We're just living our life on purpose and with a purpose. And when you do that, you know what you want, you know what you're willing to do to get it, and you know what you're willing to sacrifice. And ultimately, we confuse sacrifice with investment, because is eating healthy a sacrifice, or is it an investment? Is budgeting and delaying delaying that brand new car down the line when you can buy it in cash, is that a sacrifice, or is that a good investment? Is that a smart decision? It's just cutting out foods to have your beach body, stop dating around and sleeping around to focus on building a good relationship with one other person in order to one day have the goal of marriage or have kids. If that's your goal, is that a sacrifice to not go date 20 other girls? Or is that a smart decision? Is that an investment in one person and in yourself? Because that's going to be your legacy, that person you have kids with. That's going to be who takes your last name and or is your bloodline to spread out more good into the world. But I think too many times these goals or dreams, however you want to phrase it, is like this far away land. That's 10 years from now. Okay, well, if you don't start that journey of 10 years today, How are you going to get to year 10? If you don't start today to build to year 1, to year 2, to year 3, to year 4, to year 5, to year 6, like, how are you going to have something 10 years from now? Like, if your goal is to be a millionaire in 10 years, to be married within 10 years, to own a mansion into 10 years, to be, let's even do non-materialistic stuff, to be, to open run a church, be a pastor, lead, build a school. How do you get started? How do you have the building blocks in order to achieve that? Like, you have to start with one step, one decision, $1, you have to start with one of something in order to build upon and lay layers, in order to build that foundation, to build that house that you want, that is your dream, that is your goal. But too many times we just think of that that's tomorrow's problem. We think of it as one day when I achieve, one day when I'm rich. Like, well, one day is not going to just stumble upon you. Like, maybe if you're, some people might get lucky and get some kind of lucky break where they come into some money through inheritance or through somebody dying or through a lawsuit. But for the majority of people, unless you work for it, it's not going to come. And I think too many times we wish for stuff or we just daydream about it. We have this daydream, but we can have our dreams. We can have them with a little bit of elbow grease, with a little bit of work, with a little bit of planning, a little bit of consistency. But we want it to be a wish. We want to go to our jobs that we hate. We want to go through school that we hate. We want to drop out of school. We want to quit, go job from job. We want to have meaningless relationships that aren't going to move us forward in our lives or with our family goals. But then we want to dream of these things that we're never going to have, and it's going to ultimately stay a dream because it's just a wish. It's not going to become. It's not going to be who you become. It's not going to be the dream that becomes your life because you're hoping, you're not working, you're not believing and truly working towards it, because belief is going to be followed by action. But too many people, they don't really want it. They just think they want it. They just say that they want it. They wish that they wanted it. And that's the worst boat to be in. But work towards it. Put something down. Like, write something down that you want, a dream, a goal, whatever you want it to be. It can be small. If you want to get some small wins, start small, and then build your dream up, beyond that, and go from there. Start with 10,000. You want to have $10,000 a month, or $1,000 a month, passive income. You want to, I don't know, pick the example, start small and dream big. That's fine. And then build your dream each and every step. But make sure you work towards it. Make sure you back it by action. It's not just this thing you think about before you go to bed. You actually wake up and go try to get it. You give it all your effort, all your energy. So I know you will, and I encourage you to go do it. And I wish you peace and blessings on the journey.